Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, the show where we dive into how digital marketing agencies are using paid media to drive real growth for their clients and for themselves. From planning to ROI and everything in between, we uncover the strategies, stories, and systems that set agencies apart. Each episode, we'll talk with agency leaders who are innovating with paid media, scaling their businesses, and delivering results that matter. Whether you're looking to expand your services or sharpen the edge of your current offerings, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, where we look past the metrics and dive into what's actually driving growth in digital advertising today. Each episode, we sit down with marketing leaders, agency founders, and growth-minded innovators to unpack the strategies and mindset shifts shaping the future in the industry. Today's guest is Jace Kovacevich, the co-founder and COO of Dineline and Dishio, where he helps restaurants grow smarter with digital advertising, data, and technology. Jace has spent over a decade building marketing systems that help restaurants move beyond the guesswork and see real return on their ad spend. Welcome to the show, Jace. And can you just share a little bit more about the work you do over at Dineline and Dishio?
Yeah, thanks for having me. We actually have two companies. Dineline is our agency where, like you said, we've been helping restaurants grow with digital marketing for over a decade. And Dishio is our software platform. Dishio is the tech that powers everything we learned at Dineline, helping restaurants turn guests into customers using data and automation. So Dishio is the software that helps our clients on the agency side perform even better.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you're kind of merging them, but keeping them distinct brands separately. How do they work together?
Yeah, so the way that you want to look at it is that Dineline is our traditional agency that
Mm-hmm.
Dineline is our traditional agency that we've ran paid advertising for restaurants, and Dishio is the technology that we built in the last 2 years to help restaurants capture more data so that they can better remarket to their customers and bring them back to the restaurant. So for years, we were doing this service for clients, and they always had an issue with being able to remarket to guests that had already come to the restaurant. So we had to build Dishio because we found that there wasn't really a product on the market that solved this pain point. So if you can think about an e-commerce website, if you go on an e-commerce website and you don't purchase something, you might get an ad that follows you around the internet that influences you to buy. In the restaurant space, that doesn't really exist. And so this is what we created Dishio for, to combine with our agency services to solve that problem.
Yeah, that's awesome. A very uh, impressive, the tech side. You know, you've got like that technology plus then all the creative side of like actually, delivering and being that agency. How do you think or Yeah, how do you think digital advertising for restaurants is different from other types of industries?
So in a lot of other agency So in a lot of other industries, most of those leads or ways that you would run paid advertising, especially for local businesses, is primarily lead generation. And when you look at advertising for restaurants, the way that you run paid ads is going to be a little bit different. You're going to go for, let's say, online orders or gaining more reservations. And then what we do with our customers is it's not just about like getting that first customer in, but what kind of retention systems do you have once you bring them in through the restaurant? That's even more important because somebody might only spend 20 or $30 that first time. But if you can have a retention system in place to bring that customer back 15, 20 times over the course of the year, that's where restaurants are going to make their biggest return with a paid advertising strategy.
Yeah. And those are kind of like is that like kind of a rewards programs or multiple? Like what do you recommend in that strategy?
What we recommend and push is I can't speak to like a specific loyalty program or reservation system. A lot of them are good. What we're helping restaurants do though is better capture data at the restaurant level that the restaurant actually owns. Because if I use Open Table or DoorDash or Uber Eats for my online ordering, I don't actually get the data from those customers. And so what we encourage our clients to do in restaurants in general is if you actually own the data from those customers, you can own that retention system. So no matter what you decide to do, our system is like the infrastructure that helps them better capture that data that they can actually own themselves.
Okay. Okay, no, that's great. What are there any trends right now that you're seeing that like restaurants absolutely must pay attention to this year?
I think when it comes to marketing specifically, the emergence of AI and how that can be used from a creative standpoint to promote your business in different ways. One thing in particular is if you look at traditionally how you would create content for your business is you would have to hire a photographer or a videographer, bring them into your business, and then that person would shoot the content. It would have to be a whole production. But with AI video, AI photos, you can actually, and it's getting so good now where you can almost barely tell. You can really have your content go a lot further. You can actually save a lot of costs on that content production. And then leveraging AI in general, I would say, for restaurants across the board is a big opportunity that they need to be taking advantage of in the new year. And I know that everyone says that, but it's especially true for the customers that we're working with. We're helping them try to implement it specifically.
Okay. Yeah, I know. You cannot have a conversation about marketing today without the conversation of AI. I mean, it's everywhere. So, I think that is really kind of interesting to hear you say specifically with restaurants you're seeing that help your clients kind of go to the next level. Can you think of a or would you be willing to share a standout client win where digital advertising clearly transformed their business? And you don't have to say their name unless you want to give a little shout out, but just like kind of talk me through like a standout client, what that looks like.
So the best clients for us are clients that already have a great brand. They're just not capitalizing on the digital landscape. So when we do marketing for brands, what we always say is like, we're bringing more truth and exposure to your brand that already exists. So the dream customer for us already has a good business, already has a good product, knows how to take care of their customers. And then we come in on the advertising front and just, it's like adding fuel to the fire. It's helps them just grow at an accelerated rate because because the average because the average person right now spends what 5 to 6 hours a day looking at their phone. So we're going to help those customers show up everywhere on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram and really grow that exposure to a good brand that already exists. So I can't share specific case studies on like actual client names right now, but in terms of what makes the best client and what's helped us really, double a restaurant over the last 12 months, it's going to come down to like those specific pieces of what makes a great customer for us. A lot of times if those things aren't figured out, like if a restaurant doesn't have good reviews, they don't have that great of food, marketing isn't gonna save their business. In fact, it can almost like amplify problems that already exist.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, if you had a client and, this restaurant had a very limited budget but wanted to get started with something, what's like one channel that you would recommend for them? Or what would be like your top, strategy?
If you're a restaurant with a limited budget, and you only have, I guess, what's my budget?
That's a great question, actually. So maybe like if you had like maybe your top one or two, like that you're like go to here first, or uh,
Let's just say you're a restaurant and you only have a couple $100 a month to spend on marketing. Like, what's the best resource that you could use that money towards? Everyone has a cell phone, and you knowing and making content for Instagram and TikTok, specifically marketing and tagging that content as in your geographic area. So shooting a video about your burger and writing like best burger near me, that content is actually going to index. Or if you say best burger, if you were to say best burger in Miami and you would like label your reel that on Instagram, plus put a little bit of paid advertising behind it, almost like a boosted post, you're going to index on search for that specific thing on Instagram or TikTok. So you'll see a lot of younger generations right now that are actually using like TikTok when they go travel somewhere, if it's a new area, or Instagram to actually figure out where they want to eat versus going to Google. So if you have a limited budget and you have like literally no idea what you're doing, just being able to shoot video with your phone, getting the 101s down of that, and then using some light paid advertising to, like, get that post to more people is probably the most cost effective way at, like, the smallest budget that I would say.
yeah. So paid social, would is that kind of the
Con Paid social, but content is free to post. You can
Mhm.
still get exposure on your post without even doing paid social. Like, just getting an Instagram and getting hundreds of views on it, thousands of views on it, you can do that for free without paying for any of it.
Okay, yeah. Is there what's like the biggest mindset shift that you'd want your clients to adopt when approaching advertising right now?
That advertising and marketing is fuel to their business and looking at it less like of an expense. What a lot of restaurants will see is they'll look at a set marketing budget that's like, "Hey, I'm gonna spend 2 to 5% of my budget on marketing." Now, a lot of restaurants aren't used to the fact that they can track marketing as good as putting $1 into a machine and getting $5 or $10 out. So you actually want to spend more money if you're getting a return. If I can show you that for every dollar you spend, you're making 5 or $10, you're gonna be less concerned with an exact budget and more about, "Hey, let's just put more money into the machine because it's making me that money back." And so that's the hardest thing I think for our clients to wrap their heads around because they're just not used to that type of marketing and advertising. They're used to things like billboards or, TV or things that are harder to track in that regard. Um, this is something that we help educate them on when they come in and work with us.
Yeah. So looking forward, looking ahead, what's your vision for how restaurants will use advertising to build loyalty? You've mentioned that a little bit. Not just those one-time visits. So how are your clients using advertising?
How they would use advertising in the future is exactly what we're doing with a combination of Dineline and Dishio. You need to have you need a system to bring you new customers in the restaurant, and then once they get into that restaurant, you need to capture their customer data so that you can stay in front of them every single time they leave. So I'm sure you have a restaurant that you went to 6 months ago, and I'm like, "Hey, why haven't you been back?" It's not that you didn't like that restaurant, you just kinda forgot about it and you went on living your life. But if that restaurant had a system in place to stay in front of you every single month, that situation might be different. So exactly what we're doing with the combination of Dineline and Dishio today, have a system to gain exposure everywhere for the restaurant, so you have a system to constantly bring in new blood, and then have a retention system with Dishio where you can capture that customer data and stay in front of them and generate more repeat visits. So that in combination with the advertising is what we see as like the gold mine for growing any restaurant in 2026.
That's awesome. I mean, that's why both of your companies exist, right? Together, it's like
Absolutely.
a 1-2 punch. um, well, is there anything else you'd like to share on the podcast, either about just marketing in general or specifically about your brands?
Yeah, and I think in terms of where our company is going in the future is what you're seeing that is becoming very popular right now and is where the market is going is you're looking at we're kind of a traditional agency. We do everything for you. And with the emergence of software and AI, you can get customers even better results and do it at a more cost effective rate for your customers and make our business even more scalable. And so we feel like we've already had so much success with Dineline and where we've taken it, and now adding Dishio to it is going to give it that X factor that's going to help take it to that next level with the growth of AI and where the market is going. So we are currently actually in fundraising for the combination of those two companies, and the future is looking good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us today, and you can direct me to the right place if I say the wrong thing. But if you want to learn more about Dineline, you can log on to dineline.co or Dishio at get.dish.io. Or you can always follow them over on LinkedIn. Did I get that right?
Correct. And whether
Okay,
you inquire about either company, we have both options to work with Dial on the agency front. We're gonna have Dishio as well. So booking a call with us in either direction is gonna give you both options to work with us.
perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you also for everyone listening to today's episode brought to you by Exact Digital, your partner in performance driven media across programmatic, CTV, paid social search, and more. Let us know how we can help you and have a great day. Thank you. Peace.